if Rhodes has one of his meltdowns and starts getting naked, then I don't want that in there. But
Why not? You need viewers.
but yeah, other than that,
I'll record it mentally, even if you cut it out.
you don't want to do that.
Burn.
All right, so are we all ready to do this? Are you ready,
Yeah.
Rhodes?
I'm ready.
He's very quiet. I've never seen him so quiet. Are you starstruck?
I'm ready. I am starstruck.
No, not a star.
All right, so okay, so we're back on the podcast. Me and Rhodes are here, and we have a guest, Mickey from Laidlaws in Baldwin Park, and
Okay.
Mickey on Twos, otherwise known as, and he is on Instagram, and he's decided his own YouTube channel. But Mickey, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here.
I'm here because you guys asked me so nicely,
Exactly.
and I respond well to.
Yeah, it's like I did creep a little bit. I was on my knees, but
No, not at all. Happy to be here, guys. I work at
Awesome.
Laidlaws. I'm one of the sales guys at Laidlaws. If you've seen me on YouTube, it's probably because you've seen me on Matt's channel, and I do ride with the shop. And I got into the shop because I loved the YouTube channel, and I was a big fan of Matt's channel. I come from the restaurant industry. Many years in the restaurant
Okay.
industry, and COVID hit restaurants really hard, and I had a really bad day at work, and I drove home. I parked in front of my house, and I was like, man, I need to do something else. And so I called Laidlaws, and Kelly, Vikla Chikla, answered. And I said, hey, do you know if you guys are hiring for sales? And she said, I think so. And she transferred me, and Matt Laidlaw picks up the phone. And I was like starstruck, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I ride motorcycles. Do you want to hire me? And he's like, why don't you come in for an interview? Send me your resume. And I did that, and we did an interview, and then he took a chance on me. I have zero dealership experience in my life, and it's turned out pretty good. I'm really
How much
enjoying
did you have
myself.
to
And
know?
now I'm in the videos.
How much did
That's
you have to know
awesome.
about the motorcycles? So was that a lot of research to learn about each specific bike and then the years and how they changed? Or
Luckily, Matt didn't really quiz me because I did brush up before I went to the interview. Matt didn't really quiz me to see what I knew about Harley models and stuff. He almost seemed indifferent about that. Like, oh, you'll learn it. Like, it's not a big deal. But luckily, I had been watching his channel for at least 5 years before I even applied. And I've been there for 3 years now. So I was already a huge fan of his channel. And I like data and I like specs and stuff like that. I had been in the music industry before and sold music gear. So I liked knowing models and watching things evolve over time and seeing things change. So it kind of just naturally, I already had a little bit of a database there. And then I had a friend, my good friend Rocco, who I've been riding with for 15 years. He worked at Quaid Harley-Davidson at the time. So I reached out to him and we talked on the phone for 2-3 hours, and he gave me a lot of coaching, a lot of tips, what to look out for and things like that. So I felt like I wasn't going in blind. And then his friend Roy, for a couple of years before working at Laidlaws, had kind of like always been my go-to guy. Like if I had Harley questions, like, hey, how does this work? How does this work? He would kind of give me the breakdown of like, oh, this is when the Twin Can came out, and this is when they switched the bag hardware and all that kind of stuff. So Rocco and Roy kind of helped me get up to snuff on my product knowledge even before I even tried working there.
Well, that's awesome. So almost like a couple of cheat sheets there for you.
Yeah, these are two guys. Oh, and Marty too. Rocco and Marty they always knew like what year everything changed. Like they're the type of people that actually follow Harley. They're very enthusiastic about the brand, and they know all the changes that are coming.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. No, my wife and I, we came down there, and I think I touched on this with you when we were exchanging messages, but my wife and I came down there about 16 months ago and, watched all the Laidlaw videos and whatnot, and obviously seen you on there and Andrew. I was like, okay, we got to stop by. We just go check it out. And I didn't even think we'd see Matt, but we walked through the door and I can see Matt in the office. And he's obviously doing some kind of deal. Someone's trying to buy a bike. And he comes out for something. And next thing I know, my wife's going, Matt. And she's like running up and all excited. And Matt, I just met him that one brief time, but he seems very kind of almost shy. And he's just like, look on his face is like, who are you? But
I'm surprised.
to be fair, he was like, he took the time out and he spoke to us, even though he's in the middle of a deal. The person sitting in his office was probably a little bit peeved, maybe, but yeah, he took a couple of minutes out to talk to us. So that was nice.
Yeah, Matt is if if you get to spend time with Matt, you'll see he's the one thing you don't get from the videos is Matt is really funny. And
Oh, really?
yeah, because in the videos he's at home and he's
Mm.
got a microphone on his desk and he's doing voiceover work on the videos. But in person, Matt's a lot of fun. Like he's a really fun guy to hang out with, and he's super gracious about that stuff. I've never seen him like not want to talk to somebody that came in because of the
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
yeah, I've kind of like taken his lead, and at first I never knew what to say. Like, cool, hi, and
Yeah.
Matt's really good at asking questions and like, oh, what do you ride, and what type of videos do you like, and what
Yeah.
would you like to see more of on the channel. He's so gracious, he's so polite, and he was raised well. He's a really good dude.
But I think he was a little bit taken aback because there was this crazy Asian girl coming running up to him. So
Yeah.
I'm sure if you would have mentioned it to him, he'd probably even remember that day because it probably threw him off a little bit. But yeah, I know they've done a lot of updating at the store. But so tell us, what are your favorite trips that you've been on with Matt, or even on your own? What kind of bikes? I know you've done a couple of videos on your channel as well. The last one was about the Road King, and then the Street Glide versus Road Glide fairing, which we can touch on. But tell us about some of the trips that you've been on. What's your best trip? What's your most favorite? What roads would you like to do?
My favorite trip is the Grand Canyon trip. We did the North Rim for a couple reasons. I used to go to the Grand Canyon every year on my birthday.
Oh,
And
nice.
my folks live out in Arizona, so they would meet me there sometimes and we just go camp. And I just go there with my dog, and
Oh,
I love
really?
the Grand Canyon. Yeah. And then that was my first trip with Laidlaws. So the
You took your
weekend I
dog?
started. No,
On
I
the
used
bike?
to. Like I used to
Oh,
take my
okay.
Jeep and go
Okay.
overlanding and camping and stuff with my dog. And so
Okay.
the Grand Canyon I love going to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first trip with Laidlaws. So that's special to me. I love the Grand Canyon. So that's special to me. And
Mhm.
then yeah, the weekend I started, they were going on a trip. I think I started on a Friday, and they were like, "Hey, tomorrow we're going to Sedona, Arizona, if you want to go." And I was like, I have a family, I can't just up and leave this weekend. And so I didn't make that trip. And then the very next trip that came up, I was ready to go. Like I was like, I'm not missing a single one of these trips. And I've
Yeah,
only missed
that's
one since then, which was back to the Grand Canyon. They went to the South Rim, and I missed that
okay.
trip because coincidentally, my folks' house burned down in Arizona.
My
And
goodness.
yeah, so I was trying to, help with that stuff. And that's why I didn't make that one.
Okay. Yeah, that's the Sedona trip. That's 16A, right? Goes through to Prescott.
Yes. Sedona's
Yeah.
I've been to Sedona, just not with the boys. They had a big crew on that one.
Yeah. No, I remember that one. I can't believe that was 2 years ago now or more.
Oh, almost
Maybe.
3, yeah.
That's crazy. So, and the North Rim, I hear, I've never done the North Rim, done the South Rim a couple of times, but the North Rim, I hear, is the one to do. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a lot less congested and it's a little bit less touristy, but there's a lot of the stargazers go up there because there's far less light pollution there. So
Oh,
they have
okay.
this whole patio area, and they'll like yell at you if you turn on if your phone brightness is too bright because they're trying to keep their night vision
Really?
and stargaze and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Is there a certain time of year that's best to do the North Rim? Or is it?
I would probably say springtime would be the best over there because
Okay.
you get
Make a note
nice
of that,
sunshine
Rhodes.
during the day. Yeah, springtime is the best time to go.
Is there only
Make a
one?
note of that.
Is there only one place to stay up there, or is it like so? Because I've been to the North Rim once. I only remember one campground, one resort area, very limited.
Correct.
Like one way in, one way out. Almost. I felt like it was
Correct.
so long
It's
ago.
exactly that. Yeah. Yeah,
So
they have
cool.
one lodging system, they have one big restaurant, and that's it.
No, we got to get up there, Rhodes.
Yeah.
Definitely get
Well,
up there.
yeah. You recommend north over south, then, right?
I think if you've done the South Rim, you should absolutely try the North
Okay.
because the South Rim has been the same. I've been going there for probably 10 years or so,
Mhm.
and it's always the same. And the South Rim is beautiful. It's great. I love the campgrounds. And, if you're out there at the right time of year, you'll just have elk walking through your campground. Like,
Oh, wow.
the South Rim is gorgeous.
There goes the other Harley. My dog's called Harley too. So how long you been riding, Mickey?
Since I was 8, I started riding when I was 8. My dad rode dirt, and that was one of his first jobs was riding motorcycles and doing escorts for, the big touring trips before they had GPS
wow.
and all that stuff. They would have runners go from this point to this point. And, as groups would get split up, he would ride back and then escort the group back to their next turn. And then he'd go back and forth and back and forth.
Okay.
So My dad always had bikes, and he would sit me on the gas tank and ride through the dirt on bikes that were not supposed to be ridden in the dirt. And yeah, I think I got my first bike when I was 8 or 9. I worked a summer in a cornfield and bought a dirt bike for $100,
Oh my goodness.
and I rode the shit out of it until it blew up. And yeah, the rest is history.
So, when did you get your first Harley?
Recently, I didn't get into Harleys until about 5 years ago. Maybe 2020 was my first, right during
Okay.
COVID. I always thought Harleys were an old man bike. And I had been
Yeah.
on almost every other metric cruiser. And I had kids young. You know, I was 22 when I had my daughter, and she's almost 22 now. And I never really had Harley money, and I thought they were old man bikes. I never really cared about Harleys. So I would just burn through cheap bikes, cheap Honda CBs, and I've had almost every CB model. And, you know, I had a V-twin Shadow that I chopped out, and I had a couple Kawasaki's cruisers, like I can't even remember what their models are, Vulcans. And yeah, my first Harley was a full dresser electric line, like a big ass full dresser.
Oh, dang.
And I bought that right before we got married. I ripped all the tins off. It was blue and silver, like a Red Bull can. I ripped
Yeah.
all the tins off and had my buddy paint them at his truck yard black. And then I put it all back together for my wedding photos, like within 2 days of
Oh,
my wedding.
seriously? That's a
Yeah.
fast turnaround.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, because Rhodes has got, he's been riding a long time too, and you pretty much taken that route yourself, right?
Yeah, same thing. I had a CBR 600.
Mm.
That's the same. Yeah, that's great. It's the CB. That the whole line was a good one. Way
Yeah.
back when, 86, 85. Yeah. Ooh, that goes back quite a ways.
Yeah, I was into the 70s ones. Like the CB, I had a CB 360, like the little twin ones, and they had
Oh, yeah.
individual carbs. Then I had a 454, a 550, a 750. I had a lot of those CBs. They were really fun bikes.
So now you're a Harley guy. Do you think you'll ever go back?
I don't think there's a reason to box myself into Harley. You know, I like
I
everything.
hope Matt's not listening.
Yeah, Matt grew up in Harley-Davidsons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
My history is completely different. My first bike was a Suzuki 100cc, you know, and yeah, and Matt has dirt bikes too, you know, so
Oh, he does?
yeah. But I think for cruisers and touring and stuff like that, that there's no way I'll ever go back. Like I won't go buy a big 1300cc Honda cruiser or something like that. Like,
You would never go Goldwing, huh?
Goldwing.
you know, I would get an old GL. Like if I got a GL 1100 and got like
Yeah.
an old Honda, that would be cool. Like a early 80s one, or as long as it's dual overhead cam, I would get something cool like that as a throwback bike. But I wouldn't tour on it. It would be a fun project bike, you know.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. I was going to say something. So on your last video on your YouTube channel, you're talking about the Road King, and it sounds like you're quite a fan of the Road King.
Yeah.
Concerned
Harley
about
needs
the
to-
direction that it's going.
Yeah, I think Harley just needs to show it a little bit of love, and
Yeah.
to their credit, and you know, I try not to talk shit on Harley too much because those guys come into the shop.
Yeah.
Like I have a face-to-face connection with those guys. Hi, Papa. Brad Richards, the VP of design, he's amazing. His team, I met Dane and some of the other people on the paint team and things like that. So I know they're working on it, and it takes years for them to R&D this stuff.
Yeah.
And they just did a lot of changes, you know, 23.5 with the CBOs, the new body style. Then that comes out in 24 for the Street Glide, the Road Glide. And then you have the entire cruiser lineup. The Softails are all revamped. So it almost feels like it's too much to do all at once. But I would be very surprised if they don't do this in 2026. Like do something for the Road King, because it's such a great
Revamp?
platform.
Yeah, how would you revamp that? What would you suggest? Because what would you do? Just the windshield part? Like, how would you? That's a tough revamp. Whole
Yeah,
front end.
it's just because it's been missing for
Yeah.
3 years now, you know. So I guess 2 years. 22 was the last year. So at the end of 22, they stopped making the Road King standard. So we've gone 23, 24, and then all of 25 with no Road King standard. So I'd be surprised if they didn't bring it back with the 117.
Okay.
Maybe they'll delete the special, kind of like they did with the Road Glide and the Street Glide. Is there's no more standard special ST kind of thing.
Right.
Maybe they'll just come out with an FLHR again, because all the model designations, they're taking the S's off of everything. So the Heritage was a FLHCS for the longest time, and now it's just an FLHC. And
Okay.
same thing with the Road Glide and the Street Glide. They're FLHX, FLTRX. There's no more S.
Yeah. No, I think what you were touching on in your video is like it is a bagger, but it's a great entry level bagger. If you don't want to spend
Yeah.
those extra dollars. So I think you're on point when you say that the price for it is very favorable to people looking to get into the bagger
Yeah, and I
world.
think it needs to stay that way. If
Mhm.
anything, they need to lean into making the Road King more affordable, because as great as the mid-sized bikes are, especially the Lowrider and the Lowrider ST, there is a lot of value in the touring chassis. And a lot of people kind of like fight against it. I'm not really sure. I haven't like vetted these people that are against the touring chassis. I don't know if they've ever even ridden a touring chassis bike, or much less toured on it. Like, have you spent 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day on a bike? And if you do that on a Lowrider S and you do that on a Road King, I wouldn't put my money on anyone saying they were more comfortable on the Lowrider S. Like,
Right.
just geometry wise, like, if you're being objective, it's really hard to say that the touring chassis isn't more comfortable. So I don't know. A lot of people are trying to purchase validate, like they have what they have, they like what they have, so they're going to defend what they have.
Mhm.
And I don't really know if that objectivity really makes it in there. So if the Road King were in that mid 20s price point, I mean, the 117 is in bikes that are sub $20,000 MSRP. So you can't tell me
Right.
the engine's going to make it more expensive. The
Right.
TFT display is in the Nightster S, which is a sub $15,000 MSRP. So you can't tell me that's going to inflate the price too much.
Mhm.
It can be done, and there's no infotainment on the Road King, and there's no
Right.
fairing. So it should be $4,000 cheaper, $5,000 cheaper than the Street Glide and the Road Glide.
Yeah.
Maybe add that fairing later or
Yeah, and
whatever.
that's my
aftermarket.
argument for the Road King, is that right now we just have so much repeatability. So there's even my bike, and I'm saying this about myself, is we have a lot of bikes that look the same. Even my
Mhm.
bike, like I would lose my bike in a parking lot, like it looks the same as everybody else's. And I think that that's what the Road King can offer. It can get a little bit more gateway as far as
Yeah.
price, and you're not biting
Mhm.
off so much money, and then you could customize it, and then we have more variety in the community, which is a good thing.
Yeah. No, that's fair comments. That's fair comments. So then switching back to the previous video that you did, you were talking about street glide fairing versus road glide fairing. And I believe you have a road glide right now. Is that right, Mickey?
Yeah, I have a Road Glide now.
But you were street glide, weren't you?
Yeah, my first Harley was that Ultra Classic that I kind of
Okay.
stripped down into a Street Glide, and I love that bike. The only reason like a couple reasons I got a Road Glide is I've never owned a Road Glide, and since I work in
Mhm.
this industry, I should probably try to own as many different bikes as I can. And they're popular. The reason they're popular is why I got one, is because it's way easier to change the bars on a Road Glide than it is
Yeah,
a Street Glide.
for sure. For sure.
I wanted the fairing. I lost my Road King. So I had my Road King for almost exactly a year. I bought it, I think, on October 22nd, and then I crashed it the following year on October 13th, Friday the 13th.
My goodness.
And I had 9,900 miles. Like, I was almost at 10,000 miles for that first year, and I wasn't done building it. I had still had so much more I wanted to do. And that was a police bike. So it was garbage when I got it. It was ugly. And I made it look pretty good, if I
Yeah.
do say so myself. And then I lost all those mods. I was kind of traumatized from that. And I was like, I can't start over now. Like,
Yeah.
everything that I did to that bike, I lost. And that was one of the reasons I got the Road Glide, is because the Road Glide is such a complete bike. It doesn't need
Yeah.
much. So all I've done to my Road Glide is bars, seat, slip-ons, windshield. That's it. Like,
Mhm.
I haven't even changed the floorboards. I still have the stock floorboards and foot controls,
So switching back to the Road King, so you got into an accident, you walk away from that one unscathed pretty much?
No, that one messed me up, man. I
Oh,
didn't break
really?
anything, but yeah, that really messed up my shoulder. I have terrible numbness in my arm now. I just, like, the
Oh,
outside of
really?
my right arm is just completely numb. And yeah, I lost grip strength, and I get terrible throttle fatigue now. Like, from my house to the freeway is about 1.8 miles, and by the time I'm getting on the on ramp, I just can't wait to put cruise control on, because my
Oh,
right
really?
arm is just terribly fatigued.
That's not tied into your spine at all? Or is that all from the shoulder?
I
The
don't
arm
know,
fatigue.
honestly.
Yeah.
I've had back
Wow.
surgery, so I have a lot of injuries stacked. I ripped my right arm in half in a car accident when I was 18. And so I already had issues there. And then this hit the shoulder. And then I've had back problems as well. So I don't know. It is what it is. You guys know. You've had injuries and you just kind of stack them and you learn to live with them.
It's all part of getting older, right? It's all
It
part
sure
of getting
is.
older. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
age
good.
age is only one metric, you know. You can have two 65 Mustangs and one's been parked in the garage and driven once a month, and the other one's got, you know, the odometer's been rolled over on it, it's parked outside, it's got a tree growing through it, you know. So age is just one number. I got a lot of miles on me, man. I've been parked outside in the sun, I tell you what.
Well, Rhoads' son just bought a Mustang yesterday, huh?
He did 5.0.
Nice.
1984
nice.
classic. Yeah, how it sounds.
84 is a
it's
Fox
beautiful. Fox
Fox
body.
body?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Four
Nice.
Yeah, those were-
eyelashes, 4 eyeballs. Yeah, I think killer.
Yeah. That was the car growing up when I was a youngster. The IROC Z and the Fox body Mustang, those were kind of the big cars.
Classics.
Yeah.
And you can work on them. You can get under the engine. You can touch it.
Yeah.
You can
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore, man. I take my wife's car in. I don't even mess with it.
Yeah, it's easier that way nowadays, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
So how does your road glide compare to your Ultra as far as handling goes? Because I've only ever known the street glide fairing, never even been on a road glide yet.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's very personal and subjective. Like, if it matters to you, it matters. I think because I'm so desensitized, because I ride all of these bikes all the time. I move them around the dealership, and you know, Matt and I will take them out and we'll do the quick video reviews and stuff like that. Like, to me, they're all the same. I don't really notice that much of a difference. If you're talking modern, the comparison between mine is difficult because I was on the older chassis on the Baldwin fairing. I was on an 07, and then they changed the frame in 08 and 09. And so my modern road glide is light years ahead of where that 07 was.
So yeah, it's much better feel than.
Yeah. And then even now, the new ones, the new motors are really enjoyable to ride. And the bikes have gotten lighter. You can feel it when you pick it up off the kickstand. Like, as soon as you start lifting the bike off the kickstand, you can tell that they're lighter. But it's not to the point where I'm like, I hate my road glide now and I need to trade it in. Like, there's, you know, it's all on a spectrum. You know, the differences are there, and it's a matter of your perspective of whether you put this massive emphasis on a difference and where it lands on your spectrum. You know, so yeah, they're better, but is it enough for me to like dump my bike and start over? Nah, not at all.
So you're not thinking about going and dropping over 100K on the RR?
You know, all it tells me, I think this is a really funny topic, but I might ruffle some feathers and hurt some feelings in this one.
Ruffle away.
You know, to the guys that this bike is for, it is very inexpensive. And I will include myself in this, that if you're upset about the price, you need to blame yourself. That you need to go make more money to where this is something that is affordable to you, myself included. I cannot afford this bike. This is not in my price range. But you think about somebody like Jason Momoa. He is the target customer for this. I've heard that this dude has a warehouse full of like 350 bikes, you know?
Oh, good. Wow.
And if you think about someone who collects cars, like somebody who's in the Jay Leno circuit and has Bugattis and Ferraris and classic Aston Martins, this $110,000 bike is a collector's item, and it is dirt cheap to these people.
Yeah.
So I don't get the anger towards Harley-Davidson, because it's kind of like you're outing yourself and you're saying, well, if I can't afford it, then it shouldn't exist. Now, that's not really how the world works.
No.
So there is a customer base. They're only going to make 131 of these.
Right.
I think one's going to go in the museum. Some Harley bigwigs are going to pick up a couple. So there's going to be 129 of these, 128 of these. You think they're not going to sell for $110,000?
Of course they are. That
is nothing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think Neil deGrasse Tyson said he was talking about, like, you know, if how much money does Bill Gates have? You know, if I'm walking down the street and I see a coin on the ground, which coin would I pass up and which coin would I stop to pick it up? You know, if it's a
Mhm.
dime, okay, a dime or a quarter, I'll take the time to stop and pick it up. If it's anything less than that, then it's not even worth my time, right? I'll just keep walking. So a nickel isn't worth stopping for. And if you put that, take that proportion to Bill Gates, if it's less than $64,000, it's not even worth his time to stop and pick it up.
Mhm.
And there are many people who have just fuck you money, dude.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like you said, it's a drop in the ocean. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah. And I think
They'd go and lose that in night gambling in Vegas. They wouldn't even blink.
absolutely. Yeah.
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 So I think it's a
So,
cool bike. I
have you
wish I
got?
could afford it, but
Is there one at the
that's
shop?
not in my wheelhouse.
Are you
No,
going to
not
get one
yet.
at Laidlaws?
Yeah, we will be
Yes.
getting one.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how fast that one goes, or if someone actually pre-orders it, and pays for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another thing to remember is that it's not just about the power and the motor. It's more
Mhm.
about the rarity of a unit, and you know, this is the first time that Harley's doing something like this, which is cool. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to convince anybody to like the bike. You know, there's not enough of them out there for me to, you know, try to
I was going to say there's
sell
no
it to
need.
someone.
There's no need. It's like, it's not like you're going to be riding it around town, or you're not going to take it to the Sturgis.
Yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of people that, you know, that have spent more than $110,000 on a build. And there's plenty of
Yeah.
people who have built out baggers that have more horsepower than this bike does from the factory.
Mhm.
You know, so I see it from that angle too. It's not like this isn't some miraculous thing that the factory has been able to do that nobody else has been able to do. There's plenty of big bikes out there, fast bikes out
Yeah.
there.
It's a shame. I think maybe it might have. Well, I don't know if it would changed anything, but maybe it made it some kind of anniversary model. It might have been a better way to do it, but just to kind of drop it in the middle of, I don't know what year it is now, but it might have made more sense.
Yeah.
But either way, like you say, you're appealing to essentially what 128, 129 people by the time Harley puts one in the museum and whatnot. So they're gonna disappear really quick, really quick.
Yeah, just Google how many multimillionaires exist in the world today, and it's far more than 128. You know.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So switching up a little bit, I know we touched on the photography and everything before we went live on this, but so tell us, how did you get into shooting motorcycles, doing photography on motorcycles? Was it purely just by going on the trips with Matt, or did you have some kind of interest before that?
Yeah, I shot motorcycles for a while before that. I had started photography, I think in my late 20s, maybe 26, 27, and I got pretty heavy into it. I was doing headshots and I was making money from it, doing weddings and stuff, and had a group of friends and we were shooting video and photos. And, it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. And then after that, we all kind of went our separate ways. People moved away and, had other priorities. Then I'd gotten another bike and I was like, oh, like I want to start shooting bikes. And so I needed work done on my bike. So I found a local shop and I was like, hey, I'll do some photography for you. I'll help you with your Instagram. And that's kind of how I got into shooting motorcycles. And then at the time, Cicero de Guzman, which everybody should look him up. He's Godspeed 4506 on Instagram.
Okay.
Way back when he was doing like chopper photography, like roller chopper photography. And he still does. He's my favorite photographer by far. He's the one that inspired me to actually get on my bike and start shooting on my bike, which I don't recommend. Don't do that.
I was going to say, I saw one of your videos on that because it's like sometimes I ride with a group and trying to get images is hard. It's really hard. I mean, do you have it set on auto, or do you have the camera set up, the f-stop and the shutter speed and
nowadays
you got it all preset?
I mean, I typically will shoot manual. It depends on the camera. So with the mirrorless, the technology is so improved now that, well, I guess I'll start earlier. So when you're first learning photography before mirrorless, you have to know how these things work, right? And that's the only way to shoot a camera is you can put it on auto, but it's not really going to do what you want it to do.
Right.
Nowadays, it's a little bit different. The camera does really well. And plus you have so much latitude. You do so much more in post now than we did when I was starting photography. So really the only thing that I care about, which I learned from Nick at work, is the shutter speed. So he shoots a lot in shutter priority. He wants to have 1/100th, 1/120th as the shutter speed. So you still get good motion blur, but you have a really crispy subject in your photo. So aperture, he likes to shoot really shallow. I don't really shoot that shallow anymore. I like to be like f4.
Okay.
And I also don't like to max out my lens. So like if you're into firearms, then you have a variable lens that's 2 to 20. The lens looks the worst at 2 and at 20,
Right.
and the quality of the glass looks the best right in the middle. So I try not to push my lens all the way to its extreme edge. So if I've got a 2.8 lens, I want to shoot at 4. I don't want to go all the way down to 2.8.
Okay.
And even if I have a 1.2 lens, I'm going to shoot at 2. I'm not going to go all the way down to the 1.2. But a lot of people get into depth of field and they like depth of field. I'm not too big on that. F4 is good for me. I don't care about ISO because ISO to me is the least artistic part of a photo.
Mhm.
So yeah, mostly I'll shoot shutter priority or I'll just set it to manual. And yeah, if I go to manual, I always set my ISO to auto because I
Okay.
don't care about ISO.
Okay. All right. And
But
is
this is
it?
not a tutorial. This is not a tutorial. You know what I'm talking about because you shoot
I know.
photos.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like for the kind of shots that I would do because I was fortunate enough to be able to shoot models as well. So I did use a lot of depth of field in. So I would use 2.8 even down to like 2 sometimes. Depending what the background was. But I can see why you're not using such a great depth of field on that because the shots are coming out great
Yeah, and
for
it
sure.
also depends on your focal length too, because if you have a longer lens, which when I
Mhm.
started shooting with Matt, I had a 50 mil on an APS-C sensor, so I was at like 84
Wait,
mil.
okay,
So I was on a
and
crop
that's a
sensor
nice
with
little
a 50
lens to
mil.
have on there. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was using the Nifty 50 because it's small. I didn't really care if it
it's so
broke or
versatile
if
that one, huh?
something hit it. Yeah. I
Yeah,
try
it's
to
so
lately.
versatile.
I've been shooting with cheap lenses, like being on the bike because I don't I don't want to spend L
I
glass
was gonna
money and
say,
break my
are you
lens.
using brand? Are you using like Sigma or
I use Canon. Yeah, so I have the
okay?
Canon
See,
EOS R, and then I have a Nifty 50 for that. We have a Shop
Mm.
35 mil that I like to
Okay,
use, and then I'm gonna order another wide angle like a 24 or 28 or something like that. But I like the small
nice.
pancake lenses,
Yep.
just because they're more unassuming. Like people don't see like a big camera rig.
Mhm.
They're easier to move around. They don't hit your tank, and then also they're cheaper. So if they do break, then I can replace it more easily.
Yeah. So you able to win once you've taken the shots? Do you look to make sure you've got it? While you're
No,
writing. No, you just like yeah.
no, I have my screen. I have it turned to where it doesn't even show me a preview of what I just shot.
Okay. You
So
just wait.
I just want to see what's live on there, and we'll see what I
Yeah.
get.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. You still awake, Rhodes?
Oh, I'm still here. You guys are talking foreign language.
No, photography is awesome. I love
Yeah, I know.
photography. So yeah,
Yeah, but don't shoot while riding. It's it's
no,
irresponsible. It's dangerous. There's no need to incur the additional risk. If you do want to learn
no.
how to do it, just take your time and start slow. Do it in a safe environment. Use cruise control. Yeah, it's just like we shouldn't be taking our eyes and hands
Yeah,
off the
absolutely.
main job at hand. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
do it for the art of it. I've been doing it for a long time. That's no excuse. Yeah. But you guys know if
Oh, it's,
you drive for a living, and you drive all the time,
mhm.
you're not as obsessed with, 10 and 2 anymore.
Exactly.
When
And
you're on
also
the open road and
I'm gonna
you
say
can
you're
use
doing it
your
on the
knee.
open road, and it's not exactly busy traffic or anything. It's not like you're
Yeah.
fighting traffic at rush hour or anything. So, but no, I'm the same. It's like my wife rides with me on the back all the time, and she does all the videoing and everything. Which you can find us on another channel, Realtors on a Harley. But yeah, it's like I won't do the
Yeah, I
videoing or
follow that one.
anything. You do? Good man,
Yeah.
good man.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so she does all that, and you know, does she always get the perfect shot? No, but I'm not looking for the perfect shot, just something to put up,
Yeah.
But
Getting these shots
it's
is really
it's it's a
hard.
skill. It's a skill. I know
Yeah.
Josh at Tulane Life.
he's out. He's unreal.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
He's crazy, but he's
Yeah, I've
awesome though.
ridden with him, and he's on top of it. He's probably one of the people that's like pushing the envelope on what can be done on a motorcycle, and you compound that with his editing skills, his post production skills. He's on another level.
Yeah, yeah. No, we've been in and met those guys. Met them when they first started, actually. But yeah, when I've got questions, I'll shoot Josh a message, and he's good at getting back to me about stuff.
Yeah, I just send him inappropriate stuff. Just yeah.
Maybe I'll start doing that.
It's just a long thread on Instagram of just inappropriate stuff.
Yeah, super nice guy. He's like, I can't believe he's 28. He's really young.
Is he really? Wow.
He's really young,
man.
Yeah,
good for him.
Crazy. But did you go to Sturgis with Matt's crew?
No. Nick and I stayed back to be at the shop because we can't close down the shop, unfortunately.
Oh, someone had to be responsible and stay back.
Somebody's got to keep the lights on, you know?
Yeah.
Are you going this year?
I've never been to Sturgis.
Oh, you've never been?
Never.
Is it on your bucket list, or you're like, eh?
Yes and no. I mean, I won't, not bucket list. It'd be cool to go, but my life is complete without going. Like, it's not something that I have to do, you know?
Yeah, we went in 2023. It was our first time. We caught the tail end of it. So what was nice was the roads were empty. And also that year, the rain was crazy for the first part of Sturgis. So it was nice to be able to do all the rides there and not have to worry about traffic. But at the same time, everyone was leaving. So all the brands and everything were taking down their tents, and the vendors were checking out. But in all honesty, I'm glad I did it, but I'm not sure I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I know Rhoads hasn't been yet, and I'd go with him just to do it again, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did it.
What do you think it's about then?
I think there's two types of riders. I think there's people who enjoy the ride more, and there's people who enjoy the destination more. And so,
that's true.
like, I've never really been the kind of guy that rides to a bar because, like, even if it's a coffee shop on the weekend in the morning and you're meeting your buddies, and some dudes will love to just sit there and take their time to eat breakfast, have 4 or 5 cups of coffee, and they're all about like hanging out at that spot. And sure, they rode their motorcycle to get there, but that's kind of what they're having fun doing.
Right.
Whereas me, I'm having more fun like being on the road. Like, I like the on the road part. I like Brandon and I call it being in highway mode, where all your problems just kind of go away, and you're in tune with the road, and that's kind of what I'm always chasing. I'm not really chasing the destination. So for me, it's never really been about the show. It's been more about the journey to get there, and the excitement of getting back home. I'm a homebody. Yeah. I love to be at home. Yeah. I love my wife. I'm not the kind of guy that's like, oh, I can't wait to get away from my ball and chain. Like, I love my family. Like that's all I ever want to do. So when I go out on these trips, it kind of gives me perspective, and it's like, oh, dude, I can't wait to get home. So I love that feeling of like knowing that you're 8 to 10 hours away from home. And I just get so excited that like, I'm glad I did it, but I'm also really happy to be getting home. So for me, it's the ride. It's not really where we're going in between. That's what I was saying. I don't really pay attention to where we're going with Matt. Like, he's like, oh, we're going to go here and go here. And I'm just happy to be on the road with my friends, you know?
Yeah. No, that's true. And that's a great way to look at it, because I've only been riding 5 years, and people always said to me, yeah, it's great. You get on the bike, you forget everything, clears your head. And I never really understood that. And I'm always kind of like, if things aren't going right in my life and something's amiss, I used to think, oh yeah, my mind isn't in a good place, I shouldn't write. And I should write, because I found out by doing that, all your problems do disappear. For that moment, you're on the bike and you're riding, there's nothing else that matters. This is you, the bike, and the road. And it's serene, unless you do ride and you've experienced that, then you're never going to understand it, because I didn't understand it. And I'm not saying, if you just go into a bar brawl or something and, you're all amped up and you got the red mist going. Yeah, I'm not saying ride when you're in that state, but, if you've got things on your mind, you need to clear your mind, go ride.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The closest analogy I can come to for people that don't ride motorcycles is music.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are almost everyone has an album or a song or an era of music that transports them into a different mental state. And
Yeah.
that's the closest analogy that I can come to. Like if you've never ridden a motorcycle and you have no idea why guys like to do this, just think about your favorite music that when you're in a bad mood and you listen to
Mm-hmm.
this music, it fixes you and it straightens you out. That's
Yeah.
exactly what motorcycling does for, guys who are addicted to it.
Yeah.
Well
And
said.
make sure your playlist is good, because when I put on my favorite playlist, I write differently. It's so weird. I write
Well, you're right.
totally
You play a lot
differently.
of ballads when you ride. I don't know if you realize that.
I'm an 80s guy. I don't know what to say. I'm stuck in the 80s. So yeah, there's a lot of ballads, but
Well,
Yeah.
but it's like what were you listening to the other day, Rose, when you were writing? Was it Olivia Newton-John? Was it?
that's
Or
right.
something like that.
I love
But
Olivia
yeah.
Newton-John.
Yeah.
Don't be
Oh, I
shading on
had
her.
the biggest crush on her back in the day. Oh my gosh.
Everybody did from Greece.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she was special. She was special. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Tell us about your Instagram and your YouTube. Let's give it a plug, because we really appreciate you coming on, and just tell us what your plans are with those two things.
Yeah, of course. Genuinely just trying to see where it goes. I started my Instagram because I had a personal Instagram and I'd been on a social media hiatus when I started working at Laidlaws, and I was like, I should probably get back on social media. So I created a separate handle. So I have like my personal stuff because I have kids and
Yeah.
they're creepy people out there. So
Mhm.
that page is private. So even if you found it and I don't know you, I wouldn't approve you, And so I started Mickey Laidlaws HD, and then I slowly started to think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't marry myself to the Laidlaws thing, because Matt has been so smart about this, is that his channel is Matt Laidlaw. And there is a Laidlaws Harley-Davidson YouTube, but his is his own thing. He has autonomy over that content and everything that he makes. That
Right.
is, there's not a lot of people see it, but there is a distinct difference between who Matt Laidlaw is and what Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson is. So that's why I was like, okay, maybe I'll separate myself from there. So I thought a couple days, and I came up with Mickey on twos, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing YouTube. I don't know. I don't, how does this sound? Does this sound terrible? Like I don't really look to advertise myself.
No, I can relate.
I think that if there's value in it, then it organically grows. Then I'm happy that I can provide value. But very much in kind of the early Gary Vee stuff, where like if you love something, then you should celebrate it. You should talk about it, and you should share your excitement about it with the world. But as soon as you start trying to monetize things and look at it from, okay, well, what can I get out of this? You will lose. Hopefully you don't, but you can lose the philosophy of it. You can lose your core meaning for why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I went through this with photography. I was a photographer. I loved photography. I learned everything about photography. And then I got to a point where I would not pick up my camera unless you were paying me money. And I lost the love for it.
I would say you fell out of love, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I did it only because I only cared about what it could give to me. And I didn't care about what I could do for the art of it. And it wasn't until I started the job at Laidlaws that I was like, wow, like I would love to start shooting again. And so now I'm never going to take money for it. Like you cannot hire me to be a photographer. If I want to shoot it, then I'm going to go shoot it. And if I don't want to shoot it, you can't pay me enough money to go shoot it. So I want to kind of protect that thing and say that like, I want it to always stay genuine. And if I outgrow it and I don't want to do YouTube anymore, then I want to be able to walk away from it without, feeling burdened by some kind of income that is providing me.
Yeah. No, that's just a bonus. If it happens, it happens. I know how many followers you got on YouTube now. You got almost 1,000.
Dude, I don't know how 1,000 people are subscribed to my channel. Like, I'm not even like starting five on like Matt's Michael Jordan. I'm not even starting five on there.
You are.
I'm like coming off the bench in 1993. I'm like Stacey King, like I'm not even John Paxson or anything.
Well, you started off great. The videos you're doing now are nice. They're not long. They're just like informative. It's, you got a good point of view, especially where you're coming from.
Thanks, man.
And so, it's not one of those things that goes on for like an hour, and it's like, okay, you're
Yeah.
kind of short to the point, and yeah, I
Yeah,
can see
I
why you're
really
getting
wanted to not
followers.
do the whole intro thing. No offense to anybody that does that,
Mhm.
but like the whole like, hey guys, welcome back and all that stuff. Like I'm just gonna start, I'm gonna get to the data and that's it. And so that's kind of my style. And I also I can't do things that Matt's already doing because I can't do them better than Matt's doing them. Like I'm not gonna start doing model
Don't sell it.
reviews.
Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell
Well,
yourself short,
first
Mickey.
of all, I'm not allowed to do my own channel work at work.
Okay.
So this is something I do personally on my own, and that's why I'm in my garage. And so using work stuff to benefit my own channel doesn't really sit right with me. So when I'm at work, I'm doing my job and I'm doing my work. I'm not stealing time from work to go do my personal project. So that's one reason. And then the second reason is I don't really think that I could do anything, or I could offer the community anything better than what Matt's already doing, like in a model review. So if a new model comes out, what is Matt not doing that I could do? You know what I mean? So really what I'm trying to cover is things that I talk about with customers a lot on the floor. And if I talk about them enough with enough customers, then I'm like, okay, maybe this is something that would help a lot of people. And I'm
Yeah.
really just trying to come from that space.
Yeah. And you're doing a good job with it for sure.
Yeah,
Hundred
Thanks, man.
percent. But Rhodes, you got anything?
No, fantastic. Thanks, Mickey. It's an honor to
Yeah.
meet
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for coming on, Mickey. Really, really appreciate it. And like we said, you can follow him on Instagram, Mickey on Twos, and on YouTube, Mickey on Twos. Both great accounts and very informative. And yeah, give him a follow. Totally worth it. But yeah, in the meantime, Mickey, thanks so much for coming on again. I know Rhodes and I certainly appreciate it. And one of these days, we'll be back at Laidlaws and we'll come in and I'll make sure my wife doesn't go, "Hey, Mickey," like like she did with Matt.
Well, what we should do is if this is the first podcast to come out, like you said, we were guinea pigging, then when we get a year from now, let's do another one on the anniversary. We'll
Let's
make
do
it an
it.
annual thing. We'll
There
see
we
how
go.
much
That'd
we've
be
grown and how much things have
exactly.
changed.
You'll be too big for us by then. You'll be up to like 50,000 plus followers. You'll be like
Dude,
Harley and Rhodes now.
I genuinely don't think that's possible.
I don't know. It might just happen. You might turn into the next $1 million bogan. Who knows?
No, yeah, he's a wild man. That guy's funny.
He's sailing now. But anyway, but okay. So we're gonna end this here, and we'll see everyone on the next one.